So, what is going on, guys? This is Ryan here.
And this is other Ryan here.
And today we once again have another interesting video for you all. Now this one is talking about the Mangle and the possibility that it caused the bite of 87.
Yes, and this is actually a fan theory by the Gavtel. Sorry if we've pronounced that wrong, but basically her theory is that the Mangle caused the bite of 87, and this is going off points from the community and points of her own, which were very unique, in honesty.
Yeah, and I think another important fact was that a lot of people actually liked this comment, so that actually goes to show that a lot of people appreciated this and found it a justifiable theory, which is always great.
Yes, definitely. So she actually started it off by suggesting that the Nightmare Foxy we saw before the purple hat was actually a hint towards the Mangle, because usually Foxy actually has an eye patch on his right eye. But if we were to zoom in and lower the gain of the actual picture, we would see that there's an 87 in the pupil of Foxy. And we know that Mangle only had one eye, and in particular just the right eye.
Well, actually, if you observe the picture of Mangle, it does actually have the two eyes, but what's actually quite unique is that only one of the eyes, it seems to be like two glass casings like outside, and then only within one of these glass casings is one of the eyes. And just like you said as well with the 8 and 7s in the eye, ironically, it seems to be placed within the right eye, and we're almost looking at the Foxy from the same perspective as the iconic angle of the Mangle, that is where you can kind of see the Mangle in shot with its kind of side animatronic on its shoulder also. And it is interesting again with the missing eye patch, because of course, as said before, that's one of Foxy's most unique identifiable pieces, which makes him Foxy.
Yes, and going off of her theory, it's the points that I've raised up myself, is that the fact that we hear the static of what supposedly is the description of the bite of 87, the police scan radio describing the events of what is actually happening at the scene. And well, it's very peculiar how it's the Mangle that only has this and none of the other animatronics.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you have to think that the Mangle is of course mangled, note the name. So why is it that ironically an animatronic that's completely destroyed, or at least close to destroyed, especially in design, has this unique feature to tap into radios? If they're all equipped with this ability, you'd think maybe someone who is actually in full working order would possibly be broadcasting this sort of thing to staff, and rather than an animatronic which clearly has wires dangling from every single crevice and is quite clearly in a state of destruction, it doesn't really make sense, does it?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the fact that these toy animatronics were the only ones that were scrapped, even though like we could see Foxy was completely dangerous in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 at the time. It's very strange how all of the toy animatronics were scrapped. So that must mean that something actually happened with one of these toy animatronics, and they decided to scrap the lot just in case anything like that happened again. Yeah,
and going back once again to the Mangle's overall design, it's absolutely destroyed, and with the wires missing, you know, all it takes is one of these wires to be connected into some point on a circuit board or just a global control point that would almost stop the Mangle from causing these acts of violence. So with all of these missing connections, who knows what this animatronic could have really caused. And just like you said as well, with these guys being scrapped, and also us knowing that the year of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 taking place is 1987, the iconic and renowned year.
So we know that Mangle was actually a remake of Foxy. It was originally called Foxy 2.0, I believe, and it was a female version of Foxy, but because of obviously the children ripping this animatronic apart, the staff rightfully named it the Mangle, obviously because of its condition. But it's strange how Foxy also has these kind of tears and damage to his animatronic suit and endoskeleton. It's almost like the kids were trying to do this to Foxy also. So maybe the reason Foxy is out of order is because they didn't want the same thing happening with Foxy like it did with Mangle.
I mean, you've got to think as well that the phone guy's got this really particular liking towards Foxy, hasn't he?
Yes.
So maybe he wanted to protect this iconic animatronic. You know, he always has this fascination with him, and it also makes you think, you know, with his obsession with the Foxy and just, you know, the fact that it's then placed out of order, it makes you think, is he somehow in the hierarchy of this industry or the company of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza?
Well, yeah, we know he's been around since the very first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza due to the phone calls in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. So yeah, like you said, he did take a liking to Foxy, so perhaps rather than them in the 1987 era saying, right, just scrap that one, that's no good to us, he probably said, no, just keep it just in case.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Yeah, I mean, you see the Mangle in this kind of distraught and absolutely destroyed nature, and if you look in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the Foxy is in one piece, so for all we know, he could be protecting this animatronic once again from looking that little, you know, the further step too withered, so it resembles primarily the Mangle. But now moving on, I think the last point we should actually raise is the most obvious one that I think everyone knows, and that is of course Mangle's jump scare.
Yes, and this is pretty much the nail in the coffin. Well, the Mangle is the most suspected animatronic due to just this alone. As we know, Mangle always seems to cling onto things. It's only on the floor in Kids Cove, and that's when it's inactive and it's not
Yes,
working.
yeah.
But when it's moving around the establishment, it's either to the side, up on the ceiling, and when it does attack you, it attacks from the top downwards. That actually attacks the top of your head.
Yes.
Which is where the frontal lobe would be.
Exactly, and I mean, you've got to look at this jump scare alone. It is so aggressive and so focused on biting your face, and you have to think about the ironic name of this instant, which is, of course, the Bite of 87. So there we have it, guys. That was once again another theory for you all. Thank you once again, the Gavtal, for this interesting discussion on the Mangle. Be sure to submit any of your fan theories in the comments section down below, and also let us know what you thought of this fan theory.
Yes, and if you guys did enjoy this video, why not leave a like rating down below? And if you're new to this channel, why not subscribe for more theories like this and also some gameplays?
So thank you very much for watching the video, guys, and we'll of course see you on the next one.
Goodbye, guys.
Want to see even more content from us?
Consider liking and subscribing to ensure you'll see all content in the foreseeable future.
And hey, why not check out our past 2 videos?